Let me ask you about the U.S. economy. The chair of the Federal Reserve, Janet Yellen, said she wanted to keep interest rates at the same level. Can the U.S. economy handle an interest rate hike?
The U.S. economy is in a strong place now. It's been growing with sustained, stable growth. I'm not going to comment on monetary policy. It's something that neither I nor other Treasury secretaries ever do. But we do worry a lot about the core strength of the U.S. economy. You look at where we were 8 years ago, and if anyone would have predicted that we'd be approaching 5% unemployment with 13+ million new jobs created, no one would have believed you 8 years ago if you said that's what you were going to do. Now, with that said, we still have to do better in the U.S. economy. We have to make sure that the advantages of growth are spread more fairly, that workers, middle-class workers, have better wages. We need to make sure that we're not leaving behind the real engines of growth, the people who work. I'm going to leave to the Fed to decide when is the right time to move. But I think there's no question when you look at the global economy right now, the U.S. is seen as one of the real foundations of stability. And I think it's really quite striking. 8 years ago, 7 years ago, even 3 years ago, the question was, how could the U.S. be the center of the global financial crisis? And now it's, how is the U.S. economy so resilient that it can bounce back when other economies are struggling to try to find a path to do that?
Congress needs to raise the debt ceiling again. Are you worried at all about a government shutdown?
Look, I think it would be a terrible mistake for Congress to have the self-inflicted wound of a government shutdown.
We sound like a broken record, don't we?
I have said those words before. I think I've said them to you. Look, there is no...
Is the threat less real this time?
I take encouragement from the fact that the leaders, Republican leaders as well as Democratic leaders, say there's no reason for a shutdown. It is important that the leaders understand how bad it is to cause that kind of needless damage. You look at the stability of the U.S. economy, it's easy to kind of have questions start creeping back in. Government shutdowns, debt limit crises, these kinds of things don't instill confidence. Economies are built on confidence. So I think Congress really has to buckle down, do its job, and it's not rocket science. Democrats and Republicans have to talk to each other. They proved just a couple of years ago when they did the agreement between Senator Murray and Congressman Ryan that they can agree on spending levels that work for both parties, that pay for it in a reasonable way, that give Congress the ability to do its work for a year or two and not have the kind of perils of Pauline of deadlines. I hope they can get there quickly. You look around the world right now, and I said a few minutes ago that the world looks at the United States as kind of an anchor of stability. That's a real value to the United States. It adds to our economic and our national security. It shouldn't be squandered.